No one loves you more than me, and no one ever will. No matter how I think we grow, you always seem to let me know it ain't working. Oh, it ain't working. If all I see is you to scream my name, it ain't working. Oh, it ain't working.
Yo, Bash, you been tripping on them hoes.
Zoom may be great for meetings, but you need a platform that's actually designed for podcasters, and that's Riverside. Creating a podcast can take hours and hours for each step, but with Riverside, you can cut that time in half. Riverside gives you the highest quality video and audio quality, up to 4K resolution and 48 kilohertz for audio, making your podcast look and sound professional. When I record remotely, I'm always worried about losing quality, but Riverside has
Surprisingly, no one loves you more than me, and no one ever will. No matter how I think we grow, you always seem to let me know it ain't working. Oh, it ain't working. If I say it is you to scream my name, it ain't working.
Burn live. Murder Wangley keeping y'all connected, hashtagging these red eyes, changing the viewers' eye red, keeping underage, smoking on social media, killing myself for your entertainment, sitting here smoking, chilling, dabbing with you with friends and family, starting a cannabisation. Y'all, today's a busy day. Been a busy week. I really tried to hesitate to go live to really figure out what to talk about, how to talk about, how to get down, how to show my support and the things that have been going on that matters. So I was gonna go live, and then the war popped out in Israel, and I was like, "Oh my God, how do I talk about this?" Like, not too many people want to smoke weed and talk about or think about, you know what I'm saying, a war. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying. I'm coming here to chill, to smoke weed, maybe learn a little bit and whatnot. I highly appreciate it. But to be honest with you, just to be honest with you, to talk about a war that's going on, or the White House falling apart, AOC is turning on Joe Biden. These are some of the topics I will be talking about today. Normally I go 2 hours. It might not be a 2 hour show, depending on the vibe and how it goes. Do me a favor, y'all. Hit the like button, share button, hit that notification every time I go live. I try to go live at least 3 times a week to bring you news, marijuana stories, and coverage of what goes on in America. Now, the war that's going on has nothing to do with America, but yet again, a lot of people in America have been putting their 2 cents in. We've been getting reports ever since they launched the first missile. So this has been going on for real. A lot of people are sadly unhappy with what's going on. So unfortunately, we're going to talk about it. We're going to go over this video right here. We're going to discuss and break it down. I also got another video to talk about too, to back this up and stuff like that. So it's touchy subject. I already threw up my warning signs of everything, just in case to get a little graphical. Like I said, like, share, describe this. Shout out to my cousin and Simple Fresh Sleepwear. I gotta put that up there and get that ready and stuff like that. I am so behind on things that I'm supposed to been doing. It's starting to get a little bit pathetic, but I am working on it. I am going to get better at what I need to do. Let's get into this, y'all.
Nick, I first want to start with that brand new information, the horrible news. 260 bodies found at this music festival site in Israel that was struck yesterday by these attacks. What do we know today?
We know that there were a lot of abandoned, shot-up vehicles along the road, the highway around where that music festival was taking place in Re'im, which is about 20 miles or so south of where we are in Sderot. It had been going through the night. A lot of young people there enjoying themselves, dancing, enjoying the music as the sun was coming up. And then the missile strikes, the intercepts, the Iron Dome going off, and all that confusion. And out of that confusion, it appears that Hamas ran on there and were just killing in a frenzied way anyone that they could reach. Anyone.
Understand, ladies and gentlemen, as he's telling y'all this report, that this bombing did happen on a Jewish holiday, a Jewish festival. It went down one of the longest free wars. And if I was hearing, I actually got three reports to bring up about this that I have been coming across.
And what he describes as scenes
I think these articles to this story, no BS, and is interesting, and it has some clarity.
He told me that this was like nothing he'd ever seen before.
We're finding everything. I had like a 90-year-old woman with a bullet wound to her
A
breast.
90-year-old woman.
Yeah, they're shooting everyone. Like there's no mercy at all. A 90-year-old woman with a bullet wound to her breast. I've had people with, like, you know, their RPG hit close by. They basically had terrible wounds and had to like decompress their chest from that. But beyond that, there's like every type of injury you can imagine. People lost limbs. People bullet wounds all over the place. It was. Yeah.
But you're also. So he was talking about people being stabbed as well, and the RPG, the rocket-propelled grenade. This is a weapon normally used to break down buildings, to get into armored vehicles. Hamas using those weapons, he said, on the civilians. So finding out that the death toll, where all these young people were outside enjoying themselves through the night, of 260, just gives you a sense of the awful scale and the level of brutality. We know, or it's understood that there were about, because Hamas has given this number, we don't know for sure, but they say there are about 1,000 of them with weapons that came out of Gaza. Even with that number of people, that is a very, very high death toll. It speaks to the brutality. It speaks to the defenseless nature of all the people who were being killed. They couldn't run fast enough. They had no weapons to fight back. They were no threat to those gunmen. They could have run past them, and then nothing was going to happen. Nothing was going to happen.
Yes, I'm going to say this. They are painting a very, 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 very strict, mean, disturbing picture for us to get the sympathy out of us. Now, us as Americans, a lot of us, and I really thought about before I said this, so therefore I do feel like it's right to say, a lot of us do not know a lot about foreign policies and what that statue takes upon us. We don't. I'm not even gonna sit up here and say like I do know all the statutes. I don't. But to understand that Israel is our ally. And I ain't gonna lie, Vicky Ramaswamy really been having me learn more and more about our foreign policy. You know what I'm saying? Him coming out, him talking about things. It's like, if you really watch the election and watch things that's been going on, you would kind of figure out that this war was coming. We already knew about the first war, Ukraine, but this war right here was up under the bushes. Now, I have heard the reports that a lot of people didn't know this was coming. A lot of people didn't know this was finna happen. Understandable. But you had some, from what I'm understanding, people do. I'm going to play this just a little bit longer.
To the gunman. So this is extreme brutality that was executed upon these people, and it is, and the numbers keep growing because the discoveries keep happening, and it's the shock of the numbers that I think is just stunning Israel right now.
And the kidnapping and the mass shooting that's out of nowhere. Yeah.
Following here, Nick, is the situation with hostages. What do we know about how many Hamas may have taken, and what Israel is doing now to get those individuals back?
Well, one of the other terrorist groups inside Gaza, Islamic Jihad, say that there are about 30 hostages held there. We don't know if they're fabricating that number. We don't know if it's a lie. Is it bigger? Is it smaller? The number is understood to be large-ish. Hamas wants everyone to believe that, because the bigger the number of hostages they have, the bigger the amount of leverage they have over the Israeli government. Israeli officials in the IDF.
Yeah, now that's sad. That part right there is gonna be the saddest part to deal with and to cope with, is the people kidnapping. Next question. America, is we gonna have boots on the ground? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna be distracted by over here? You know what I'm saying? Is it gonna take from the Ukraine? Are we gonna be upping up more war? All of this is taking toll. And unfortunately, this is our problem as Americans, as potheads, as us that watch this show. This is happening. Yes, true indeed. But also in the bad token of saying this is happening during election time. This is happening during high inflations where everything costs a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man. And everybody still is looking at this war as like this probably doesn't have nothing to do with America. We need to be taking care of America's borders and doing what we need to be doing over here. Totally understand. I'm totally with that. Totally with that. The thing is, for those in Congress, in the government, when we see these people that wants our money to go over here and to do this, and we're not totally with it, understand that Israel is our allies. Totally got to remember this, y'all. They're our allies. These are our friends. These are our buddies. These are our pals. But we're having problems over here that's nowhere near as bad as them, but we still having bad things happen over here. We have a national disaster from weather hitting over here. We got a hurricane that's finna hit on the East Coast not too long, within a couple of days if it's not hitting tonight or so. You got the border problem. You got food hunger problem. You got high-rated crimes with people not getting locked up. You got all these things going on. And also you got to look at the crime that's happening in other countries. And our congressmen and our people, oh man, we should put our money in there. And me and you, we sitting back like, man, hold on, man. I just got home, sat down, I live by blood, and all of a sudden you try to tell me I have to send some money somewhere else to a whole other country. This is what's fit to take place. Not trying to be mean, not trying to be pointing fingers at things like that, but it's finna happen. Why it's finna happen? Because I just seen this story. My God, I just seen this story. And I was like, I'm gonna have to play this story because this story is really letting us know that hell, they is finna want us to they're gonna want us to put money into this. Like we probably ain't got money laying around, unfortunately. Money laying around. Ha ha ha. What the hell did I just do? So, I just seen this story, and I'm gonna play it for us. And I was just like, what? Is this really happening? Did I really just? Yes, I did. This is really happening. So, I'm gonna let y'all listen. And we're going to put our 2 cents in. Please put a comment if this is what you want.
Many Americans, there was a sense of fear and worry and a knowledge to many of us that there were horrific things going on around the country at that time.
We have mobilized, we have called up approximately 100,000 Israeli troops. They are now organizing and preparing to launch an attack at Hamas in Gaza. And as we speak, we are also striking their military targets inside the Gaza Strip.
All right, guys. So once again, we got to talk about the number one story in the world, which is the Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel and Israel's current response.
And I hope people do understand that and really decipher that it's Hamas. Now, I know me and you and me, and your cousin too, rolling nonsense on about. Look, I understand we don't know what Hamas at. Most of us never heard of Hamas. But understand Hamas in Israel and Pakistan and Afghanistan and the Middle Eastern have a lot of small countries over there that we ain't gonna hear about. That probably before we die, we gonna start hearing about countries with social media. Okay. Just putting it out there. Just want us to understand these are what things we're going to be looking at. Understandable, knowing that we're not too intertwined with outside this country. Now, as you see, he reading this report. This is October 8th, 2022. You know what I'm saying? So, this is an updated recent story.
To these attacks. Now, look, guys, I'm going to tell you before I get into this. Honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite things to talk about. I don't like talking about this subject. However, this is a news channel. And when we get bombshell news, which is what I have to break to you guys today, I have to talk about it. One of the reasons why I don't like talking about this Israel Palestinian conflict is because both sides are extremely passionate about this issue, and it's just one of those things.
And I understand, I feel him on this, and the reason why I didn't really at first want to talk about it is because most potheads is not going to want to talk about war. Potheads and war don't go together, and y'all know that. So anybody that does watch this, I highly appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up for even having the balls to even do this report and bring y'all these stories, because yet again, I do understand that pothead and war don't go together.
And again, one of the reasons why I don't like to talk about it too much is that we're going at each other's throats in regards to Israel versus Palestine and which side are you on. Take a look.
Shame on you! 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 From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Don't fire missiles at civilians. Occupation. Thousands of women and children tortured, murdered, and maimed by Israel. This is not both sides. This is not a conflict. Thousands and thousands of people.
But yet again, understand that this is a problem, y'all. I totally get it. But yet again, this lady is not going to have nobody from Israel stay in an apartment with her and live with her and deal with the consequences. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand that even though other countries have problems, other countries have military and army forces and stuff like that too. Yes, indeed. And we shouldn't put all our so-called, what they say, energy into other countries that can definitely defend themselves. Now, helping Israel out because they're our buddies, you know what I'm saying? They're our allies. We deal with them. We do business with them. We do trade with them. We do whatever source outside the country with them. They're understandable. But to be this passionate because it's going on to where y'all protesting, we yelling at each other, and then, you know what I'm saying, you're not even going to lift a finger to come help them over here, bring them over here, because you already know what's going on and the problems over here. Now, you might say that I'm wrong for saying that, but I'm just being truthful. We have a problem over here.
Children! I was radicalized to this cause because a 12-year-old was murdered in the lap of his father by Israeli military. You should go back to school. Go back to school. You're a terrorist. Terrorist! You all right, dude? You all right? You all right? Yeah, where am I way? Yes, I am. That's why I am. Why are you in my way? Be proud of yourself!
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? So while Americans are at each other's throats over whose side of this conflict you're on, Republicans are arguing that the Biden administration may be responsible for some of the funding that may have went into this attack from Hamas, because the Biden administration restored hundreds of millions of dollars of U.S. aid to...
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, And see, this is another reason why I wanted to cover this story finally, is because some juice like this gotta come with some good sauce. It can't come with no bullshit. And this right here, if this is true, if this is backed up, come on, man. Biden administration is it has to go down as one of the awkwardest, unfortunately, movements in history for their movements and what's going on. Please,
Palestinians, some of which allegedly went into the hands of Hamas, who controls the Gaza Strip.
But Friday night, interesting timing. Friday night, during the quiet part of the media cycle when no one's paying attention, the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, released $75 million into Palestine, into areas that are heavily Hamas areas. Now, internal memos in the administration, internal White House emails are suggested in the last year that there was great risk of increased violence due to this money, and the administration in writing said, go ahead with it anyway. So these are troubling issues. I'm glad that the Republicans came out and criticized them, but you know, the President Trump last night was talking about the Abraham Accords. He's got a good point. You know, that there was peace and prosperity in the Middle East. You see, we're on the verge of an agreement between the Saudis. Remember, the Abraham Accords didn't include the Saudis. We're on the verge of this Israel and the Saudis getting together, and
that's right. And could that all be at risk now?
I think so. I mean, Iran was obviously behind.
Now this is from a whole nother country, y'all. People, smoke a blunt to this. Smoke a blunt to this. Take a dab to this. Roll a joint to this. Understand that these comments, these words, this news right here that you're seeing is from broadcasts from other countries. Okay? And understandable that we over here in America, unfortunately, gotta help our other countries. But we gotta be smart, tactic. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be tactic. You gotta use the right resources at the right time. We can't just go all in. Not to say that we are gonna go all in, not to say that we're not gonna go all in, but it's just, woo, you know, I bet you the military, the Air Force, the Navy, everybody probably, hey, get your boots ready at any time we can be sent out.
This, and that's probably one of their motives.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, I reported on this when I initially talked about this story, which is that the thought process behind why this happened is that Iran is trying to disrupt an agreement between Saudi Arabia and Israel that would help normalize relations. Again, this is something that is left over from the Trump era with the Abraham Accords, which that guy brought up in the news clip that I just showed you guys, in which he says that Trump makes a good point, because Trump always makes a good point about how under his presidency we had peace, okay, because Trump was tough, okay? He believed in peace through strength, and Trump showed multiple times throughout his presidency that if you F with the United States and our interests, there will be hell to pay. Again, he was criticized for this by the mainstream liberal media, like, for example, when he clapped Iranian General Soleimani and then threw up the U.S. flag, like, you know, it's the set, okay? In response, the media screamed, World War III, Trump's going to start World War III. But fast forward, when Trump is out of office, Orange Man is out of office, what you're actually saying is the world go into conflict that a lot of people believe could lead to World War III under the Biden administration, because the Biden administration has made a series of missteps in regards to foreign policy. And who knows, okay? It seems that the paper trail here is showing that maybe, just maybe, we have another one, just like with Afghanistan, just like what's going on with Ukraine, that, you know, the Biden administration doesn't really seem to be competent in regards to handling some of our foreign policy issues. For example, Antony Blinken came out and said that the U.S. has not seen any evidence of Iran's involvement in the Hamas attack on Israel. Now, this is what he said on CNN's State of the Union. However, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran actually helped plot the attack on Israel over several weeks. Now, we're going to get more into this, but again, I want to show you guys how the mainstream liberal media automatically just kind of goes along with the Biden administration's narrative, even though the Biden administration has proved to be untrustworthy, especially when it comes to this area of foreign policy. Because one thing that Republicans have been arguing is that the $6 billion that the Biden administration gave to Iran, or gave back to Iran, I guess that's technically how you're supposed to frame it, that could have been used to help fund this attack, because money is fungible. But again, the mainstream liberal media, despite knowing this, despite admitting this, Kristen Welker admitting that this is a possibility in her interview with Antony Blinken, she peddles the Democrats and the Biden administration's talking points in this exchange with Nikki Haley, who again is accusing Iran or potentially using that money to help fund these attacks. Take a look.
What do you say about the argument that money is fungible? So Iran may have known this money is coming and used other funds to help fund this attack that happened.
Iran has unfortunately always used and focused its funds on supporting terrorism, on supporting groups like Hamas. And it's done that when there have been sanctions. It's done that when there haven't been sanctions. And it's always prioritized that. And again, I come back to the proposition that these funds have always been, under the law, available to Iran to use for humanitarian purposes.
I actually think it was irresponsible for Secretary Blinken to say that the $6 billion doesn't weigh in here. I mean, let's be honest with the American people and understand that Hamas knows and Iran knows they're moving money around as we speak because they know $6 billion is going to be released. That's the reality. When I was at the United Nations, you saw that when those planes full of cash sent by Obama to Iran, I went to the International Atomic Energy Agency. I met with them. What happened was those funds were sent to Hezbollah in Lebanon. They were sent to Hamas in Gaza. They were sent to the Houthis in Yemen. They go and spread terrorism every time they get a dollar. It doesn't go to the Iranian people. It does go to terrorist attacks. And Secretary Blinken's just wrong to imply that this money is not being moved around as we speak.
The part where I'm had to agree with the American people. You and I both know that we not gonna hear the truth when it comes to the press and CNN and stuff like that. You know we're not gonna hear the truth. You know we're gonna have to go onto a podcast when somebody then sat down and interviewed a person that was actually there on the scenes and know who done what with what. And when that report comes out, which I do have a small clip or a small podcast where I got some people that are talking about the attacks and stuff like that. So I do got that to show and to discuss just a little bit before we go on to other stories. But, and I got to add a bad little eyeball thing. But, oh well. It's crazy to hear that we just know for a fact that since Biden been in office for 20-some years, he has the best decisions, or these people have the best interest in sending so much money to other countries. And then y'all like, oh, they fund terrorists, they do terrorism, and y'all be admitting this, but y'all know what the problem in these city streets. These city streets in America could have used that $6 billion. Y'all know that. We know that. The American people, and see, this is the main reason why American people are so fed up in America and don't have no trust and belief in America. And probably be screaming, oh, we stemming the systematically racism because of stuff like this, where we go spend more money in a whole nother country and don't spend money on us and don't give black people reparations for help building this country and stuff like that. Now, if somebody came out with an argument like that, that almost sounds believable and reasonable. That almost sounds ethical. That almost sounds like an argument. I would wonder if somebody came out with an argument like that. How would they think? What would be the pushback? I'm just saying. I just thought about it. I'm just like, systemic racism, and they be talking about how the white man got more and all this, and then you hear from another person like, what system do black people run? I'm like, okay. Then you hear other reports about, is the slave is the sports world now, and Olympics, and I can't represent the flag and all of this. So I hear all these arguments, but I never hear a logical, like a real argument that can wow, shock the world. You can say that funding other countries and not funding the people here in America, period, and then add black people, you know what I'm saying, with the extra stamp on top, sounds like a very reasonable argument and an understandable argument. And I would like to see somebody argue that and see what would be the pushback would be if somebody ever said that and be like, hey, you know what? That one dude got a pretty good idea, you know what I'm saying, of a pushback. Because I've been hearing a lot of good ideas thrown out there when it comes to, having a solution or having a problem or having an idea put out there where you need a solution to be solved. And I was like, okay, so cool. And when it comes to stuff like this, which, I probably getting y'all totally off track of a war that's taking place that has nothing to do with America, or does it? See what I'm saying? This is where I'm getting back to the main point. If we are getting caught up and we're hearing and we're putting on tape, file, recording, hey, you know what? Y'all be saying this, and now y'all getting caught up in your bullshit. Because now we're taking it to podcasters and we're talking about it. So while you're slipping it under the door where people ain't listening and paying attention because y'all speak in such utterant words and try to speak so big to where people are like, you know what, I'm not listening to the news. I don't watch the news. I got a good friend who don't watch the news. I got a good friend that don't watch the news. Then I also got the same friend that don't watch this podcast either, and can say that, hey man, I smoked a blunt, you know what I'm saying, and watch one of your little podcasts just to keep up on what's going on in news. Understandable. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that big, I'm not that popular, whatever. Getting off the subject. But if for a fact that money is getting laundered to fund terrorists and other wars, which, if you ask me, which I'm glad they don't ask me, like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying, America makes money off bullets, wars, guns, and stuff like that. You got a administration that just left a whole bunch of weapons and new stuff around. Yeah, you really got to take the time out and look at it and think about it. Like, maybe this is part of the problem and the solution. That, yeah, we did it. Yes, we the start. And then you got this lady right here that admits it. Admits it. All we need is the facts. Where, where's the smoking gun? Where's the guy that went over here that snuffed out this war, that started this war? Because understandable that it had to be, somebody had to disrespect somebody. Like, stop playing. Somebody had to disrespect somebody. It had to be a disrespectful moment, you know what I'm saying, in time for where people, like they said, they're bombing, so to say, to stop the little peace that they're going to have amongst Iran and Iraq. We over here in America, yet again, this is where I'm saying we over in America, like, what? Besides gas and oil.
And yet,
To hurt
Ambassador,
those that love freedom.
And yet, Ambassador, there's just no proof of that yet. This is just the hours after that immediate attack. Is it irresponsible to level that charge when you really don't have any evidence of that at this point in time?
The evidence is, look at what the Iranian people have done to freedom-loving people around the world. Look at what the Iranian people, the Iranian regime has done to threaten Israel over the years. To think that they're not moving money around is irresponsible to say that to the American people. They are moving money around to threaten those they hate. They hate Israel. They hate America. They are going to continue to use this. It was wrong to release the $6 billion, but let me tell you what else was wrong. It was wrong to go and have that debacle in Afghanistan. It was wrong to waive sanctions on Iran that gave them even more money. Money has been flowing to Iran, and that is the problem, because when Iran gets money, they use it for hate.
And Ambassador Haley, just to be clear again, the Secretary.
That makes me want to cover this other story real quick, y'all. Hold on a second. I gotta hear this, because this other story over here is recent. Okay. I just want to hear some stuff out. Well, this is more about the Ukraine.
The money laundering operation, and it's there so that we could have more liquefied natural gas from Western countries sold to Europe, and that's why we bombed the Nord Stream pipeline. And Joe Biden had predicted he would do it in February, right? He said if Putin has tanks that go across into Ukraine, we're going to end the Nord Stream pipeline. So that's what this was always about, and it was provoked. We provoked Putin to do that. But, what's funny is that.
Okay. I just want y'all to hear that part real quick, real fast, right? If we provoke that over pipeline, because it's been said multiple times, anybody that wants to deny it, there's a lot of people that knows about that pipeline that says that's that, okay? So that's provocation number one. That's been permittable all over the news, podcasts, like everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody's talking about that. So what makes this story right here, as she say, with no evidence, any different? What makes this story right here any different?
Secretary of State said categorically they have not seen a link.
Yeah, so they also said there is no evidence, or that they didn't see the evidence that Iran helped plot this attack on Israel, except now we do have evidence, according to the Wall Street Journal, and this is all alleged. This is all right now, because this will change, okay? So again, I just want to keep my, all this stuff is alleged, right? The Wall Street.
Alleged. But yet, like I said, I played the other clip of everybody of just a person on a podcast admitting that, hey, we provoked Russia, Putin, to do this Russia-Ukraine over a pipeline. And I heard of another pipeline, which y'all can go on TikTok, and look up $30 pipeline, $30 a barrel. And dude said, yeah, I was selling oil for $30 a barrel. And now, you know what I'm selling it now, because y'all want to mess up my business? $130. So to mess up business, to mess up progress, to move money around, seems to be a problem, seems to be the issue, seems to be what's been going on, seems to be topic number one of discussion. I'm just saying.
Street Journal is alleging that Iran, in fact, did help plot this attack. And if Iran helped plot it, then common sense would tell you that they probably funded it. Now, again, money is fungible. You could argue that even though the $6 billion is supposed to be used for humanitarian purposes, since they know they're going to get it, then maybe, just maybe, they moved around some other funds that may have been earmarked for other things and say, you know what, we're going to use this money to fund or to help fund this attack or terrorism because we know we're going to get $6 billion to replace it. Okay, so again, this is, it's one of those things where I think what really matters the most is whether or not Iran was involved. And as of right now, it seems like there is, suggestions, at least by the Wall Street Journal, okay, that may be the case. So let's read here. Iranian security officials helped plan Hamas's Saturday surprise attack on Israel and gave the green light for the assault at a meeting in Beirut last Monday, according to senior officials of Hamas and Hezbollah, another Iran-backed militant group. Officers of Iran's Islamic Military Guards Corps had worked with Hamas since August to devise the air, land, and sea incursions, the most significant breach of Israel's borders since the 1973 Yom Kippur War, those people said. Details of the operation were refined during several meetings in Beirut, attended by IRGC officers and representatives of 4 Iran-backed militant groups, including Hamas, which hold power in Gaza, and Hezbollah, the Shiite militant group and political faction in Lebanon, they said. Yeah, so again, considering the sophistication of these attacks, the fact that they overwhelmed the Iron Dome, the fact that they were able to cross the border, they did this by sea as well too. The level of sophistication and planning of this attack suggests that they may have had some backing from Iran. Again, if I was a betting man, I would say that they did. Now, again, I also got some questions about, how did this intelligence failure occur? Okay.
That's a good question too. It's strange how things have been going on. Things have been looking. You always gotta, I don't know. I'm always questioning and interested. And with documents like this, now it's documented on his show, and I appreciate his show, and it's documented on my show that, hey, this is going on. You can't be too mad that, this is what we see. Man, if y'all just can, if we can just take over the White House, just take it back, what would y'all do? What would y'all start with? Who would y'all be allies with? Who y'all don't want to be allies with? Just curious. Just them ideas are things I be wondering what be going through people's minds when they say like, hey, I am a person of interest and this is my ideas, and if I had to be in the White House, this is what I'll do. Interesting. Because a lot of people want to take over the government. And then I heard this quietly, that a lot of people want the government to take over us. Oh, yes. I do hear that quietly. I have heard people where they want the government more involved. And then I'll be like, interesting. This is probably going to be the most interesting thing I should play for y'all real quick. Had to find a real quick story. Found it. So this is strictly from the White House. I like these little reels because they just be straightforward and to the point.
Here I come.
Oh.
Here we go.
Thanks, Green. You've said the president was responsible for gas prices coming down. Is the president responsible for gas prices going up?
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come.
So it's a lot more nuance than that, right? Peter, you know this. There have been global challenges that we have all dealt with. When I say all, meaning other countries as well have dealt with since the pandemic. There's been pandemic and there's been Putin's war. And Putin's war has increased gas prices at the pump. We have seen that over the past several months. And what the president was able to do, he took some historic steps when you think about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and making sure that we were able to do everything that we can to bring that cost down for American families, give them a little bit more of a breathing room. And we saw that. We saw that every day this summer, saving American families over $1 per gallon.
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about.
And so that is what the president's going to continue to stay focused on, our American consumers. How do we continue to keep...
Which my gas prices out here is at $5. How is that? How can she sit up there and say stuff like that where y'all funding other countries? You see what I'm saying? Now, like I'm saying, black people, you gotta. I want to say this with pride and dignity, and not trying to be ignorant. But you got a black woman up here sitting at the podium. Speaker, you know what I'm saying, press secretary of the House. She can just say, you know what, y'all, to be honest, she can spill the beans. She can tell it all right there. Press conference. Spit it out. Tell it like it is. Tell you all the cuts and corners right there. But she'll tell us right now, and y'all heard it out her mouth, not out of my mouth. Gas prices down. They did what they had to do over the summer to get the gas prices down, and things had to get better. Okay. All right. I see. Yeah, like I said, you heard it from her, not me.
To keep prices down. That's why we did the Inflation Reduction Act. That's why we talk about the CHIPS Act. All of these things are going to help Americans here in this country.
And there are consumers now in California paying $6.41 a gallon for gas. Nevada, $5.51. Oregon, $5.46. Who can afford that?
And we understand that. That's why the president worked so hard the past several months to make sure that he did everything we can to bring gas prices down. We have seen fastest. I know you're pulling out a couple of areas across the country, and I get that, and we understand that there's more work to do. We have never said we were done here. We have always been very clear that there is more work to do, but
stop it.
We have seen, the reality is we have seen the fastest decline in gasoline prices in over a decade. That's because of what this president has done. And again, prices going down by more than $1.
It's like she's saying our strategy was to rise the price and drop it real quick just to prove a point. But we, the people, wouldn't see that or think about that because we're too busy trying to actually deal with the high rise and the fall and the back to the rise again. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. This is why other countries like, shoot, hell, let's go to war. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the BRICS projects. I don't know too many people know about the BRICS project, if you do or you don't, where it's South America, Africa, Britain, Russia, and another thing, they're taking their currency and making it into gold. So you got that going on. Then you got war, so people can make sure that things stay in place. You got America so-called paying back money, and the money's not going to where it's supposed to be going. It's going to so-called terrorists, where they're taking the money and they hiding and they running up in the forest. Now they want to bomb things and stuff like that. We got all of this going on. And then you got the black people here in America. They be like, oh, we're depressed. Well, go to the Democratic Party and tell them that you're depressed and that they owe you money, and because they started the Jim Crow law effect. And you know what I'm saying, you need your 10 acres and a mule so you can grow your reed crops. And that's the strategy we should be going in, because yet again, they have proven and shown what they're about and what they do. I'm just saying, this is it right here, black people. To my blacks, this is the time to strike. This is the time to march. This is the time to actually put a video together and like, hey, this is what I see systemically. Instead of you got Kaepernick and people for the Olympics that go pay Nike $1 million just so they can make $10 million to make a video to say that they're the racism, and they making millions of dollars doing it, while you're stuck. And I'm stuck too. Not just saying you. I'm not rich. I don't get paid for doing this. But we're stuck with these wages and problems and gas prices and grocery prices and crying out racism. But have no evidence to see the racism. But I think the racism is American money funding other countries and not funding black people. There you go. I help the cause. I'm not laughing at the problem or at racism, because I guess there are people that don't like other skin colors or whatever. But I'm just saying, a good argument. A good argument. That's all. I got you one. I got black people one. I put one together. Pushed it out there. Like, hey, this is what you should go to the White House, to the man, and say to Joe Biden, like, yeah, this is racism. I bet you it'll work. Guilt trip. If I ran that truthfully and put a nice video together and then had to GoFundMe, I probably make a lot of money. You know, this is it. You know, a lot of people will probably be mad at me. Like, man, I can't believe, dog, you was claiming that it was no racism and all that stuff. All of a sudden, you put a video together. It was a nice video, though, bro. 2 thumbs up. Nice video. But I thought you said that stuff. You just in it for the money. I was like, man, look. I seen a hole. I seen a door. I opened it. It had a lot of money. It said, hey, blame racism on sending money to other countries and not sending it to us black people here in America. I was like, that's the best. That's a good argument. It's truthful. It hurts. Makes you want to cry and shed a tear. Not to no damn Olympics. Hell no. To the American people. You giving it to Ukraine and Iran and whoever else. And see, this is where we need to, as American people, I'm not going to lie to myself. And when I say this to y'all, this is where I be feeling like we need to really learn a little bit, just a tad bit more about foreign policies. You know, I know a lot of people that got business over here in America that I bet you want that cross seas money. You want that cross seas money. You want to go cross seas. You want that island money. You want that bobsled team money. People like, I don't know what you talking about. That's old, young man. But I'm just saying. You do have this lady up here. Black. LBGTQRSWV movement. And she can go up here and tell it like it is. Just keep it so real and 100 with us. Look at her. You think she'll ever just, I hate my job and this and this and the world is moving the money like this and we could have been gave y'all the money. But, you know, America's racism. That's why they want to give black people the money. They want to give other countries for what? Because we owe them trillions of dollars. Okay. Just saying. We had Barack Obama in office. That was a chance to keep it real and tell the truth. Everybody probably sat back and waited on that. I bet you every day. I bet you it's a black person in a basement right now. Yes, right now, today, that's probably very assaulted that Barack Obama had a chance in office and didn't tell nothing about no truth, no nothing, no black history, no black movement, no black Snicker bar, no black nothing. But she's mad. And yet again, Trump was in office, whatever. People didn't like that, riot the streets. And now you got Joe Biden in office. You got this black lady right here, right now, that can spill the beans, open a can of whoop ass. You think she's gonna do it? I don't think she's gonna do it. It'd be nice to see it. I'm cutting this one a little short than my normal usual. But I just want y'all to think about that and kind of capture that in your minds and think about that deeply when I'm like, man, here's a chance for somebody to really speak the truth and tell it like it is. But yet again, we go to these podcasters. We go hear the truth from them. We go sit down and listen to their podcast and like, oh my God, this is how it is. And that's how I look at it. I'm like, I'm going with somebody that's going to take the time out, bring me the numbers, give me the facts, and I'm sorry, and I need to step up my game, put like this information and stuff down in the description where I get these videos from, which y'all see where I get the videos from and stuff like that. But sometimes I get other behind the scenes videos. Just saying. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'll be here all night. Y'all have a good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you're watching this. Peace.